Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm going to wait for some people to show up and then I'm going to start the stream. Hi, everyone. Hi, Nick. Oh my gosh, good to see you. I feel like I see you so little lately. Hi, Sky. Santa's little cookie. Okay, Sky, I already got used to you being Santa's little cookie, so now you cannot be renamed to anything else. John changed my light setup for YouTube and he put the camera in one spot and he had forbade me from ever moving it. And it's so close to my face and there is so much light going on me that you can see every single imperfection that I have on my face. So, ta-da! But hi Taz, hi Grumpy, hi Diane, hi Poverty Barn, hi Peter. Oh my gosh, Nick, no worries. Nick says, forgive me for misspelling your name. It is really not a big deal. Hi Crazy Cat, hi Praxis. I only care if people misspell my name when I don't like them or when I don't know them. It's like if good people misspell my name, it's okay. I'm not triggered, but if it's like people that I don't like and they call me some random weird names, I don't like that. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Red Dog Patch. So a couple of things. One is I can't post videos on TikTok until the 27th. And it's the worst thing ever because I've been finding so many comments and so many things that I want to respond to that I can't. And sometimes I don't, I don't have a lot of things to make to put into a short video. So I just discuss them on streams. In the past couple of days, I've had so many things that I've wanted to put in a short form video and I can't. So I will be posting them on Instagram instead. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I guess this is your call too, because I'm going to be posting those videos that I can't post on TikTok until the 27th on Instagram. The reason why I'm not going to be posting it on my backup account, most likely, is because that account doesn't get I haven't posted there in a very long time. And if I do post there, it's 100 people will see it, which makes no sense for how long it takes to edit these and put the captions and stuff like that. And it just doesn't get, as in the message won't reach as many people as it should. So there is that. Hi, Juju. Hi, Carolyn. Hi, Jillian. Do I have something white on the back of my chair? What do you mean, Grumpy? No, I don't. I mean, I have a little alpaca blanket here. It's kind of cream, but I don't know. Hi, everybody. Okay, so today we are doing a Zoom call on Patreon at 8:30. So we have a little over an hour for the stream, which is fine because to be honest, there is not today is not a super eventful day. Most of the news that came out today are about Zelensky's speech at the Congress yesterday and his visit to DC in general. We do have some of our favorite Russian madness. I will show you another ad that some of you probably have already seen. But they have been releasing this series of ads for recruitment. And they just, these ads, I don't know. I don't know who they're supposed to target. Honestly, I talked about these ads and I showed one in my news brief. For those of you who have seen it already, for those of you who didn't see it already, go watch it. But basically, I did I included one of them in the brief. But they're basically a series of recruitment ads where Russia is trying to portray that going to the front line in Ukraine is the best thing that can ever happen to you. And they're always targeting it from a financial standpoint. It pays so well. And they're always targeting it in a way where these people, they're broke and, their daughter wants a phone and they can't afford it. Or it's a grandpa who needs to sell his car and his grandchild is going to the front line and now suddenly everything is going to be okay. And it's kind of like, it's so sad because the only motivating factor for, and like, mind you, this is supposed to target the masses of Russia, right? So like your average Russian. And all of them basically show a reality in which these people are terribly employed with horrible conditions. They absolutely despise their life, and they're not making any money, and their only way of making money is to go to the front lines. And it's kind of sad because if you think about it, it shows a Russian reality where an average Russian is either unemployed or barely employed, or employed and overworked and can't afford to pay rent. So it's kind of, it's just very sad, you know? And I find it funny because I guess like Russians think that this is going to somehow force their citizens to go and basically conscript to the military. But for the world, what it really shows is the grim reality of being a Russian citizen, right? That your motivating factor to go potentially die on the front line is the fact that you can't find any other job that can pay you a livable wage. That's crazy. When the veteran and his kids was just beyond low. Yeah, that was incredibly low. I believe, I agree with you. I agree with you, Poverty Barn. Hi, Armin. Can you refer to your sources about the average citizen? So what I was saying here for anyone who didn't understand is that Russia released a series of ads targeting, first of all, yes, sure, you can look at any statistic and look at Russian, first of all, yes, 25% of Russian citizens are connected to electric grid, central sewage system, and gas. Russia was basically a gas monopoly, but only 25 to 30% of Russia's citizens have such modern goods as toilets indoors, or toilets with a sewage system in general. So that doesn't even mean indoors, that means plumbing. 25 to 30% of Russians have gas, and 25 to 30% of Russians have like running water and electric. So yeah, that is a good source, and that is a worldwide known fact. Now, it used to be just statistic that nobody read before, but now everybody knows. Most Russians don't know what wireless headphones are, so that's a very good pointer too. And you can find various videos. Most Russians literally do not have. Well, obviously, if they don't have plumbing, they won't have washing machines and stuff like that. Stuff like that. And second, what I meant with this is that in this video, Russians, this video is a recruitment ad. A recruitment ad is supposed to target the average demographic of the country, right? Because they want to recruit as many people as possible to go to the front line. They want to recruit, as per their latest statement that I voiced in the brief on YouTube, which again, if you haven't watched it, go check it out. But in their latest statement, they said that they want to recruit 1.5 million Russians to the military, right? So they are targeting your general population. And if you have to target your general population by showing them a reality of their life where they can't make the ends meet and their only solution is to go to the front, then it's safe to say that the majority of Russians are making such terrible income that is their only solution, right? So that's the source. The source is this ad itself. It's just basic marketing principles. But so yeah. Also, someone's asking, well, Digital Cowboy is asking, why does Russia want Ukraine so much? There is a plethora of reasons, and I have lots and lots of videos on my TikTok explaining exactly why, but the factors are financial. The factors are natural resources. Russia lost 20% of its economy when Ukraine left the Soviet Union. Russia doesn't really have anything to hold their economy on. The aviation production was in Ukraine. Military production was in Ukraine. Natural resources were in Ukraine. Ukraine has the second largest gas deposits. Like, there is so much there. and also historical reasons where Russia literally has nothing to do with Kiev Rus or Slavic people and stole our history, stole Ukraine's history because Ukraine was Kiev Rus, appropriated our language and culture, appropriated our historical figures, our writers, our scientists, kept genociding us for centuries, and that's why they want Ukraine so bad. So yeah, so there is that. So there is that. Hi Jedediah, hi Jad, good to see you. But so yeah, and today is a very, very, very sweet day because, well, it's not sweet. Here's the thing, like, you know, all of these flash mobs in support of Ukraine, they're very sweet, but they're also incredibly bittersweet and they're incredibly gut-wrenching. And today is that day because there is a campaign called Light Up Ukraine. And the campaign is through United 24, where United 24, the president's initiative and platform, they're trying to get money. They're trying to fundraise for generators for your average Ukrainian citizen because, you know, they don't have light sometimes for more than a day at a time. I was talking to my friend Yulia. You might remember her. She is the girl that we opened a charitable organization with, Yulia and Max. And she said that they didn't have electricity for the past 48 hours. 48 hours! No electricity for 48 hours. And so U24 is trying to raise money for generators for Ukrainian citizens, and they came up with this campaign that a lot of places worldwide supported, and the campaign is called Light Up Ukraine. And so I put a spin on it, and I called the stream today Lights Out for Ukraine, because what's happening in this campaign is a lot of destinations worldwide, like the Sydney Theater, like the Empire State Building, like the Warsaw Parliament. Basically, in most countries around the world, the famous destinations turned off their lights, like Niagara Falls. Everybody turned off their lights in support of Ukraine, in solidarity with the energy crisis and with the rolling blackouts. And it's nice because it reminds people that that this situation is happening in Ukraine. But at the same time, you know, it's kind of bittersweet because it's a nice gesture, but it's like you turned off the lights and you can easily turn them back on, you know, but Ukrainian citizens are not going to be able to turn them back on because it's not a choice. It's unfortunate realities of life. And it's just, you know, it's really sad sometimes. But yeah, it's, you know, when you watch the brief, there is a moment where I talk a little bit about my family and about how they feel, you know, about the future and stuff like that. And how sometimes, you know, it's really hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel. The light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, it's just, you know, with all of these events happening and all of them going, like, you know, it feels like we fix one thing, another thing breaks, fix one thing, another thing breaks because, you know, Russia keeps attacking. And sometimes it gets to people, especially people who live in the war zone. You know, it's very hard sometimes to see positively and to see in the future. Sometimes it's hard to see the future altogether. And that's something that I share in the brief. So if you haven't watched it yet, the brief is a rundown of news. Normally it's under 20 minutes. Today it was like 21 minutes, I believe, and a couple of seconds. John was really upset about it. He was like, the whole premise is under 20 minutes. And I'm like, today is a special day. Zelensky made his first trip abroad, and it was to the US, and he was speaking in front of the Congress. Someone's asking, what's your strategy for managing Russia when they lose? Why would we need to manage Russia? It's not our problem. They're going to lose. We're going to push them back out to Russia, and we are going to make sure that they never feel comfortable attacking us again, because our military is going to be hopefully one of the most combat ready. Well, right now, I think Ukrainian military is actually the most combat ready military in the world, because we are the only military that has seen World War II scale combat. I don't think Russia is going to try and attack us, but the thing is, it's not our problem to manage Russia. Our only task and our only goal is to make sure that we are strong enough that they won't feel comfortable to even step close to our border. But we're not going to manage them. They're not our problem. Poverty Barn says, I lose electricity frequently, several times a year, usually for a week or so due to the weather, so I can sympathize. One of the many things that drives me to donate every month. Oh, thank you so much. Everybody in Ukraine appreciate everybody in Ukraine appreciates that so much. Like I have so many friends who are struggling with blackouts and so many friends who don't have electricity for days at a time, and it's been going on for over a month now, and sometimes they will have electricity for 2 hours a day, and some of them have kids, and and they have dogs and there's just so much that they need to do during the day. Like Yulia every day goes to a gas station and works at a gas station because that's a place where they do have electricity, and that's a place where they do have internet, and they're managing. But the thing is that, like, everybody I talk to who's in Ukraine says that all of this is okay as long as Russia is not here. It's fine. Like, they're happy to live with no water, no electric, no gas, no anything, as long as Russia doesn't step foot on our land. It's worth it, I haven't heard a single person in Ukraine be like, I'm so tired of these electricity blackouts. I wish Russia would just I wish we would just concede. No one thinks that. Everybody's perfectly okay with everything that's happening so long as we don't have to deal with the alternative. So yeah, alrighty. I'm going to show you the advertisement, the recruitment advertisement coming from Russia. It is 2 minutes long. Obviously, it's a fantastic. It's a masterpiece. This one I think is like one of the worst ones from them, because this one's like targeting former veterans and is trying you're gonna sit yourself. I don't want to comment too much. I want to hear your opinion on it. A lot of you might have seen it already, so it might not be new to you, but I still want to show it because I think I'd like to hear your opinions, and I would love to discuss it with you guys. Okay. There we go.
Нет, парни, это не жизнь, а просто какой-то день сурка. Ну реально, повторение одного и того же, раз за разом. Считай, что я с утра на завод, потом какая-нибудь подработка. Или там таксистом, или грузчиком подрабатываешь. А домой прихожу в 12. В 6 ухожу. Я, считай, детей вообще не вижу, жены не вижу. А денег-то все нет.
Не говори. У меня жена без работы осталась. У них там сокращения пошли. Так, работники никому не нужны. Кроме уборщиц за 10 в месяц. А потом меня погнали в шею. Вот сидим, перебиваемся халтурками. Благо у тещи дача. Земля как-то кормит.
Парни, я вот как в первом году домой вернулся.
Swipe right, and you will see the subs.
Не прижился я на гражданке. Одно радует. Вот когда смотрю, как наши ровесники, да парни молодые, родину в бою защищают, вот душа радуется, что кто-то хорошее в этой жизни сделал.
Да. Ощущение, что армия была жизнь. Что делали что-то хорошее. Защищали родину. Армия и была целой жизнью. Всегда чувствовал опору. Все делили на 4. Честно, по-братски.
Вот именно, что армия целая жизнь была.
Сейчас там в окопах молодые парни. Там сейчас гражданские, которых нацики мучают. А мы здоровые мужики. Ветераны боевых действий сидим здесь и жалуемся на жизнь. Вместо того, чтобы реально приносить пользу. И раз уж страна нас позвала, и ей мы нужны, то мы пойдем.
Значит, у нас сутки, чтобы собрать весь мешок и объясниться с женой.
Товарищи сержанты, задача всем ясна?
Так точно.
So in my personal opinion, this one is like the worst one of them all. Because first of all, they use the word, oh, there are civilians being tortured by Yazis, which is absurd. Second of all, it's like they're trying to play on feelings of veterans as if like, you know, I don't see my wife and kids at all. And, you know, once I'm going to go in the military and die on the front lines, that's somehow going to get better. And they're like talking about this honor of being in the army. Meanwhile, they're the ones who are torturing those civilians and they're the ones who are destroying stuff. And they're trying to seem like so honorable and with a purpose and like, you know, with a meaning in life. Meanwhile, like, and so professional, you know, it's just so, it's, yeah, like Yogi says, it's cringe. It's so cringe and it's just so not true. And I mean, it's propaganda, so it has to be like that. But at the same time, this is just pushing it too far. It's so bad. Okay, so the next one that I'm going to show you is an intercepted call where a Russian soldier tells his mother about tank-friendly fire that unalived 20 newly arrived soldiers. At first, she condemns the Russian command, but then expresses her shock at the shelling of border Russian cities. It's so funny because, you know, through the course of reporting on the war online and through watching numerous videos, I just realized, you know, Russians are willing to blame anyone as long as it's not themselves. Sorry. Oh my God. Sorry. They're willing to put responsibility for what's happening to, they're willing to put responsibility for what's happening to them on anybody, as long as it's not themselves. They're never to blame for anything. It's always someone else. It's kind of interesting. Danke sehr. Oh, yep, there you go. Gesundheit.
Привет, зайка. Ну, наконец-то вспомнила о маме. Как дела?
Ну что, я ж тут на войне все-таки не пионер.
Не понимаю, сынок. Ну что нового-то у тебя там?
Пацанов-то пошли нормально.
Чего, пацанов?
А вот приехали сержанты, я...
Ну, в смысле, к вам пополнение?
Да. И 20 человек было.
Да ты что? Ты-то не ранен? Все нормально?
Не царапинки вообще.
Господи, помилуй.
Стою тут на хохлов смотрю в ту сторону.
О, Господи, горе как.
И то это наш танк ебанул. 2 раза выстрелил, и 20 пацанов нахуй. Говорю, блядь, тут командование, как поймешь, какое, блядь, твари, блядь. Своих же убивают.
Урода, блядь, недоделанный, Господи.
Говорю, потери
Ну,
больше, блядь, своих, чем от хохлов, блядь.
Ясно. Леш, ну ты скажи, у тебя потом желание-то будет еще продолжать?
Мам, не об этом сейчас. Я же тоже теперь командир.
Ну, я все это слышала, только ты это веди себя там.
Да,
Попали,
ничего,
не лихач.
Тут все серьезно, мам, ты что?
Да, потому что это не шутки. Вот что они творят, теперь уже по нашим, по российским городам хуят.
This the statement at the end said, "We guarantee that for every war crime against Ukrainians, there is going to be prosecution." Oh, sorry. This one basically the statement at the end said that we guarantee that for every war crime committed against Ukrainians, there is going to be prosecution. But you know, this is a very typical thing of Russians, where it's just. Again, you know, she seems to understand for a second that it's their command that's to blame, that it's them to blame. He says, you know, they're more there are more unalivings coming from our own than there are coming from Ukrainians, which that's not true, because I doubt Russians, took out 80,000 of their own, but yeah, they do a lot of stuff that puts their own people in danger, and they do a lot of stuff that results in deaths of their own people, which just shows how little they care about their people. So the U.S. There is someone coming in, Jack Corbin coming in on Twitch saying the U.S. should give Ukraine napalm to use with artillery and aircraft. Nothing like cooking the enemy out of their trenches. That's actually very interesting, but if you saw my brief, not the latest one, so let me do a recap. For everybody who's new here, hi, my name is Yulia, and I'm a born and raised Ukrainian. I was born and raised in the city of Lviv, Western Ukraine, up until I was 16 years old, at which point I came to the United States of America and settled in New York for education, and I have been living here for the past 12 years. My entire immediate family lives in Ukraine, which includes my dad, my mom, my grandmas, my grandpa, and my aunt. So basically everyone who's close and dear to me, they are in Lviv, and they've always lived there, and they're planning on always living there. And I have been doing the news every day live since the beginning of the full-scale invasion on February 24th. Live, not then, because you need to have a certain amount of followers to go live, but at first I was doing videos. But basically I do this every day, and we dissect the news, we talk, we discuss everything. I give it political, geopolitical, historical, cultural, and otherwise current, relevant context to help you better understand what's happening, why it's happening, and what is the geopolitics and politics behind it. This stream is happening on 4 different platforms at the same time. It's Twitch, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. And my handle is the same across the board. So if you prefer any one of the platforms mentioned just now to the one that you found me on, you are welcome to switch. And it's easy to do by just looking me up by the same handle. Or if you are on TikTok or Twitter, you can go to the link in my bio, and all of my platforms are linked there. If you are on YouTube, they're all linked in my About section. And if you're on Twitch, I believe they're also all linked in my About section. But again, you can just look me up on any platform by searching up YEWLEEA. I always say the rule of thumb is, if you want to find me on any social media, you look up my handle that you currently see, and I don't show up, then I am not there, because everything is the same across the board for it to be very easy to find me. So there is that. Also, I do have a Patreon, and there are subscriptions available on TikTok and on YouTube to my channel. So if you would like to, and on Twitch, I believe too. So if you would like to support my journalistic endeavors, that is very, very, very highly appreciated, although not expected. All of your super chats, super stickers, and TikTok gifts are really, really helpful and help me produce the highest quality content for you possible, because basically it helps me fund gear and equipment and all of the hours put into editing. But again, not expected, but highly appreciated. So that is that. If you don't follow my YouTube, I highly suggest that you do, because on YouTube twice a week I release short videos called The Brief, and they are coming out on Wednesdays and Sundays. They are short format news rundowns under 20 minutes, so you can get your news in a convenient way, instead of having to listen to like a 2-hour stream, which again, it's a lot of information. We do talk about it incredibly detailed, but these briefs are good because they summarize all of the highlights of everything that happened in the week so far and go deep into the past 24 hours. The new one is out and was uploaded today. And yeah, and we've changed, as you might know. If you're new here, then you don't know. If you've been here for a while, then you do know. But my husband is my editor and my videographer, and he has been putting in a lot of effort into lighting and stuff like that, because we didn't have the proper gear before, but now I think finally nailed it. So if you think that the setup looks incredibly professional, it's because John did a great job. If you look at my older videos, you will find that I don't know anything about light. But yes, so we have been adding new things to these briefs every week to kind of make it for a smoother viewing experience, to sort of make it more upbeat, even though, you know, the news are serious, to sort of insert jokes where appropriate, so it's more engaging and more interesting for you to watch rather than just like a monotonous rundown of everything that happens. So if you haven't checked out my briefs yet, please do. They are on YouTube, and I'm personally very proud of the work that we have been doing. It's been taking like 8 hours to edit these every time, and last night we went to bed at 6 in the morning because I ended up John wasn't home early, and he texted me and he told me everything that I'm supposed to do with the camera, but he forgot to tell me that with the settings that he had asked me to put on, I can't use autofocus. And so I filmed the entire thing, and once we put it into Premiere Pro, it turns out that everything was in focus except my face was ridiculously blurry. So I had to reshoot the entire brief from the very beginning because it just wasn't right. And yeah, we went to bed at 6 in the morning because we weren't going to put out, like, you know, a half-assed crappy editing for you. We wanted it to be great. So yeah. So I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I miss Cindy butting into your videos. I will call her over when we're about to finish up. She's having a day today. I didn't give you any like personal information in the beginning of the stream, which is rare, but so Cindy was having a day today because if you have a dog, you know that once a year they normally need this experience of, how do I say this without grossing out most of the people? Once a year, dogs basically need some help with cleaning out certain tracts in their bodies, because some dogs do it automatically. I have a French bulldog, so they require some help with that. And so normally one would take a dog to the vet to do that, but the vet is about like $125 for an appointment, or $150 in New York. And my lovely husband decided that that is absurd, and he's just going to do it himself. You know what I'm going to tell you? It's basically, if you're a man and you need to get a rectal exam once in a while, that is basically about what needs to happen to a dog once a year, but just for different purposes. And so my husband decided that he would do it himself. And my poor dog was placed in a bathtub, and John got a glove, and you know, the rest is history. Cindy is traumatized. Like, I have never seen this poor dog be so traumatized. Well, last time I saw her be so traumatized is last time we brought her to the vet to do this, but she was like, I think she felt betrayed. I think she felt betrayed, genuinely. So yeah, so that's why I'm trying to keep Cindy out of the picture, because I want to give her some resting time. Besides, anytime I come up to her and I scratch her and my hand gets anywhere near her butt, she freaks out and runs away. So, you know, so yeah, so we have that. Well, I hope this was very helpful for you to know, because you know, everybody just needed to know this. Also, you guys, I have a question. So, if we get 2 more subscribers to join the YouTube channel, we're gonna have another slot for the emoji, and we have Sin emojis, we have Zelensky emoji. I was thinking the next one will be Zelensky as well, but just like a different facial expression. But then someone commented on Instagram that the last photo that I posted in the YouTube community tab, which is like a photo of a photo of me with like a really funny facial expression, and someone on Instagram said that I should make that a YouTube emoji so people could respond to trolls. And so if you want that, please let me know. If you want Zelensky, then let me know that you want Zelensky. You can comment under the community tab post. I'm actually curious to know your opinion, but I found out yesterday while John was editing my video that he has a folder quite literally titled Yulia Dumb Faces. Because I'm very animated. Hi, Albert. Hi, Nora. But basically, I'm very animated, and so I make a lot of different faces when I talk. And he just finds and he just screenshots them and puts them into a folder called Yulia Dumb Faces. And you know, it's funny because I think most people would be offended. I love photos with ridiculous facial expressions. I just love them. So I was like, you know what? Bring it on. I love it. So I posted it on Instagram. I'm happy he has such a folder. I will show you the face and then we'll continue with the news. I just think, you know, it's just so good that it should be seen. But this is the face. It is in the YouTube community tab as well. I'm going to show it to YouTube first, because this is an excerpt from YouTube, and then I'm going to show it to everybody on TikTok as well, so you guys can see it. But yeah, you know I'm animated, you know I make faces. I just didn't realize there was someone quite literally recording my faces. But anyways, I digress. Okay, in southern Kherson Oblast, during the construction of army fortifications on the banks of the Dnipro River, Ukrainian border guards found the remains of an ancient Roman or Greek Hellenistic settlement with broken pottery from antiquity, which is so cool. It's like, remember when in Odessa they discovered some antiquities as well. And it's so, you know, it's interesting because of course, on the one, of course, obviously, and most, you know, as a most important factor, this war is horrifying, and it brings so much destruction and death and just awful things. But at the same time, you know, there are some very surprising positives or very surprising little Easter eggs that we keep finding, which are, you know, things like artifacts. Because Ukraine is a very old, ancient civilization, and it's very, very interesting to find new bits of history in our territory. And then, oh, sorry. Oh my gosh, this is a bit from Solovyov, but it's 11 minutes long. It's another, as I said, today is going to be full of videos because most of the content, most of the news that came out today are mostly about Zelensky's visit and just sort of like tidbits and Russian propaganda and stuff like that. But there is not a lot of, there are not that many updates. So this bit is from Russian propaganda, and it's obviously Solovyov, and he's talking about all amazing things that Russians have and will accomplish, which if you want to hear more of that madness, again, in the brief, I address Putin's latest speech where he was talking about all of Russia's accomplishments and what they're capable of producing and stuff like that. And it's just, I mean, I also elaborate and reason as to why it's ridiculous and obviously not true and could never happen. But you shall see when you watch it. But let me show you this bit of Solovyov. I'm not going to show you the full 11 minutes. I think that is way too much for any brain, and will fry, and will, you know, most of us will probably won't come out of this unscathed. So I'm going to probably show you like 5 minutes of it. But you know, you guys told me that you love the bits with Russian propaganda. So here is another one.
И уж если на то пошло, чтобы умирать, так никто ж из них не сподобится так умирать.
Зачем ядерным ракетам начали посвящать песни?
А зачем нам такой мир, если там не будет России?
Что вызывает у россиян гордость за родину, кроме оружия?
Все! Все! И Путин!
И возможно ли воспитать патриотические чувства только на противопоставлении Западу?
Из России матушки вдаль глядят сарматушки, нас соединенные штатушки.
Вот так как наши умеют любить, дружить и умирать, да еще в таком количестве, как это не печально и не страшно. Да и такого количества святых нет ни в одной стране мира. Вот, наверное, в этом наша сила.
Вы, насколько я понимаю, по вашему прединтервью, не согласны с Дмитрием Певцовым.
Да, я,
Поясните,
честно говоря,
почему? Что он не так говорит? Он
Причина...
цитирует знаменитое литературное произведение.
Тараса Бульбу.
Да.
Тараса Бульбу цитирует, транслируя, с моей точки зрения, идеологию смерти. Вот не больше, не меньше. Откуда это берется? Это его личная точка зрения. Нет никаких проблем, если это личная точка зрения народного артиста Дмитрия Анатольевича Певцова.
И депутата
Да, и депутата. Если это некая государственная идеология, трансляция государственной идеологии, у меня возникает вопрос.
Вы ему лично не верите, что ли? Боитесь, что это какой-то госзаказ?
Еще раз, если я не знаю, не утверждаю. Если это его личная точка зрения, никаких проблем. Если это госзаказ, есть проблема.
Вот это вот история, что мы должны гордиться тем, что мы, русские, живем и умираем не так, как все другие люди.
Да.
Потому что мы другие. У нас другие просто принципы, другие ориентиры, другие ценности. И Алексей Геннадьевич, насколько я вот его могу понять, опасается того, что государство как бы через разные каналы коммуникационные, в том числе через депутата Певцова, пытается донести до каждого из нас, что вот смотрите, ребята, вы должны помнить об этом, что вы совершенно уникальное человеческое существо под названием русский человек. Вы живете по-другому, и вы должны быть готовы умереть по-другому.
Времена такие.
Oh yes, we live a very different life, and you should be able to die for your country for a cause that isn't worth it.
Которого там западная пресса выдает как там идеолога, чуть ли не там не
серый кардинал.
Серого кардинала, значит, который на ухо президенту говорит. Вот на днях написала о том, что надо возвращаться к традиции от модерна, ну, чтобы решить все вопросы там с рождаемостью, все остальное. Там, значит, блуд, костер, как раньше, ну и так далее и тому подобного. Является ли это трансляцией государства? Конечно, нет. Это частные мнения людей. Времена такие. И обстановка диктует появление
еще частных мнений относительно поводов для гордости добавлю. Так уж получилось, что другой творческий человек, и тоже депутат Государственной Думы, господин Майданов, выпустил на этих выходных песню. Песню очень патриотическую, и там прям сразу с места в карьер, прям про сарматы. Перца всему этому добавляет, что автор слов или соавтор слов Дмитрий Олегович Рогозин. Я предлагаю насладиться и потом все это обсудить.
В нем скопилась вся мощь Енисея, воля тверже уральских гор. В пыль врагов в мгновенье рассеять, он готов исполнять приговор. Ему просто же не помеха, ему санкции не страшны. Для Сармата одна лишь утеха, потревожить натовцев сны. Из России матушки вдаль глядят сарматушки, нас соединенные штатушки.
So, for those of you who don't know what this is a literal song that was recorded by a Russian singer about Sarmat
Волну
missiles.
оружейного вдохновения подхватили и не столь известные исполнители. Так, рэпер под псевдонимом Рич опубликовал клип, смонтированный из кадров хроники спецоперации в Донбассе, где видна работа наших танков и ракетных комплексов.
И значит комплекс Искандер найдет ночи палачей. И значит грады прилетят, как стаи грачей.
Тысячи просмотров на Ютьюбе и у роликов, на которых симпатичная девушка собирает модели российских танков и заодно предлагает пофантазировать, как они будут выглядеть в битве, например, за Лондон. Без техники не обходятся теперь и городские мероприятия. Так, на открытие елки в Белгороде Дед Мороз прибыл на БТРе. Интернет-пользователи дополнили видео, чтобы сделать его появление еще более эффектным.
Эх, Россия, матушка, в бой готов сарматушка.
Угрожаем приговором, ядерным оружием. Давайте шарахнем по Америке, и нам прилетит в ответ.
Нет
Ни
такой
хрена
песни, не
останется.
надо. Алексей Геннадьевич, пожалейте, пожалуйста.
Пожалейте нас.
Пожалейте. Вам лучше не петь.
Хорошо.
Сигнал президента. У нас же рассматривают
Так
сейчас
вот,
изменение доктрины от перехода
Дмитрий
от
Дмитриевич, так в этом-то и проблема. Многих как раз пугает, что это сигнал. Вы слышите меня?
Да.
Есть сигнал некий откуда-то сверху. И вот этот сигнал надо обязательно претворить в жизнь, выполнить. Вот некоторые наши коллеги, основываясь на своем жизненном опыте, они как раз в этом-то и сомневаются, в необходимости каждый сигнал вот таким образом дорабатывать.
Ну, почему его надо доносить до населения, чтобы все об этом слышали, понимали, о чем идет речь, потому что ситуация сейчас очень серьезная, и в том числе и представители искусства своим художественным творчеством должны также говорить о том, как и в предыдущей истории, там же идет речь не о смерти, а о том, что на миру и смерть красна, что смерть за Отечество, а не просто так, смерть за свою страну, смерть за Россию, и любить надо именно Россию. Поэтому он говорит, что за веру царя Отечества.
Значит, вот у нас есть ракета «Сармат», которой Денис Майданов и Дмитрий Рогозин гордятся. И они написали об этой ракете песню. Ну, она получилась не очень, может быть, удачной, и вам эта песня не понравилась. Означает ли это, что вы не будете гордиться ракетой «Сармат»? Или будете гордиться?
И вообще гордитесь.
Еще раз спрашиваю, вы ракетой «Сармат» гордиться готовы? Или ни при каких
Через
обстоятельствах?
эту песню?
Нет.
They can't even like put two words together sometimes. It's just so ludicrous. I think it's enough Russian brain melting. I think it's enough Russian brain melting for today. It's unbelievable. You know, like their ads for military recruitment are ridiculous. Russian media is even more ridiculous. It feels like, you know, I think this show is on like 24/7 or at least like most of the day, every day. And they have nothing to talk about. It feels like they've run out of propaganda and crazy stuff to say so much that they just sit there and they make this stuff up as they go just to like have something to say. And then each one of them like bounces off of each other to build onto these like crazy ideas. It's like, you know, you could just not go on air. You could just talk about anything other than that. But who am I to say? Can you tell me where to find these videos? They are on Russian Media Monitor. Look up Russian Media Monitor. They have a lot of videos like that. And then on YouTube, there is a channel called War Translated, and it's they have a lot of phone calls between Russian soldiers and their families. So obviously, we have all seen or we have all heard that Zelensky came to speak at the United States Capitol in front of the Congress, and he has gotten an insane, crazy standing ovation before he even started speaking, which, as a Ukrainian person, like that made me cry. And it made me cry for a couple of different reasons. One being the standing ovation for a Ukrainian president. And it was just, you know, I never thought that this would happen. I never thought a Ukrainian president would be talking in front of the US Congress to begin with, because we were very irrelevant as a country up until recently. And also, I never thought that a Ukrainian president would get arguably more applause than anyone has ever gotten in the Congress for like a Congress speech. Maybe Churchill, genuinely. I think James said that maybe Churchill got as many or more, but I think that this was quite a historic moment. I think that, you know, someone asked me on Twitter in the comments what I think about Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene and Gates and stuff like that, and people like that not standing up and applauding. It's, you know, I mean, what can you expect from them? They're far-right fascists who are Putinists too, and who support Russia and who spit out conspiracy theories. I don't care that they were sitting down and applauding. Honestly, I'm happy that they weren't, because like, they don't deserve to applaud Zelensky. Like, they are never gonna be 1/1,000,000th of a person that he is. And the fact that they spit out these crazy conspiracy theories and take away human rights for, I don't even know what it is, for personal gain of some sort, to prove a point, to have control, is just, you know, I don't care for them. I would rather them sit down, and I would rather them not applaud, because he doesn't need their applause, and they surely don't deserve to you know, they don't deserve to be in front of him, to be honest. They don't deserve to be sitting in the Congress. They deserve to be behind bars. They're genuinely like working to the detriment of all of our people and the country. So I don't think anything of it. It's expected. I didn't expect them. I honestly didn't think they would show up. I didn't think that they would even listen. So yeah. So you know, that's fine. But basically what I was trying to say is that, you know, the second part of it was very bittersweet and very sad, because it had to have come to a genocide for a Ukrainian president to speak at the American Congress for the first time. And it had to have come to a genocide for a Ukrainian president to have so much respect worldwide. So that was a very, very, very that was a very, very bittersweet moment. Also, Jack Corbin says, Jack Corbin on Twitch says, I'm not sure what Trump would have done with the invasion, but my best guess would be that the US would have boots on the ground in Ukraine now, for better or for worse. US would have boots on the ground on Russia's side if Trump was president. Trump was showing his adherence to Putin and talking about how brilliant he is, up until he realized that no one cares or fears Putin anymore, and then he switched his narrative. Trump blackmailed Zelensky, cutting off, like threatening to cut off aid if Zelensky doesn't look for compromising information on the Biden family before the election. Like, if Trump was president, Trump would be helping Putin. So and it's not a guess, it's like, it's reality. Trump has been so proud of Putin liking him, which is funny because Trump is just like so, you know, limited. Putin doesn't like him. Putin doesn't like anyone. Putin uses people that he thinks can be useful to him. Trump was useful to Putin because he was destroying the US. US is a world superpower that Russia is always opposing and always trying to like compete with, even though obviously the world recently found out that Russia has only been pretending to be a superpower and can't really show anything for it. But at the same time, like, the US like going up in flames was a very, 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 very convenient for Putin. And he liked Trump not because Trump is great, but because Trump was providing him with an opportunity to burn US down without Putin having to lift a finger. But yeah. So also, most of you probably, if you have seen the speech, you saw the flag that Zelensky had given to Pelosi and to Kamala Harris, and the Ukrainian flag. And that flag is the flag that the soldiers in Bakhmut on the front line that Zelensky visited the day prior have given to him to give to the United States, Congress, basically as a thanks for everything that has been done for us. So that's a very, very symbolic flag. A very, very symbolic flag. And I thought it was beautiful. Also, Zelensky gave an award to Joe Biden for courage, and that award was given to him from the captain of the HIMARS unit of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, which I thought was also like a very, on the nose, cheeky little bit of appreciation, because HIMARS is supplied by the US, and it was from the captain of the HIMARS unit, which I thought was just it was a very sweet touch. So, okay, with that said, let's summarize a couple of points that Zelensky said in the Congress yesterday. He called for continued financial support from the United States, saying, "Your money is not charity. It is an investment in global security and democracy, which we manage responsibly." He also called on members of Congress to strengthen sanctions against Russia and hold terrorists accountable for their aggression. He noted that Biden supported his 10-point peace plan, but added that every member of Congress can help implement it. Russians are using everything against Ukrainian cities like Bakhmut, but Ukraine is holding the line and will never surrender. Zelensky said that Ukrainians will celebrate Christmas this year despite the atrocities of war. Even if there is no electricity, the light of our faith in ourselves will not go out. The president ended his speech by saying that Ukraine will achieve absolute victory, repeating his words from the beginning of the speech: "Ukraine is alive and strong." He also said in the middle of the speech, "Ukraine is alive and kicking," and I loved it. It was so incredibly just well thought out and beautifully said. In other news, Macron, who's one of my favorite European politicians recently, because he is just so, sensible, so sensible. He now said that he considers Ukraine's accession to NATO unlikely because of Moscow. And he says that, however, he does think that just like Russia, Ukraine needs security guarantees. This is the guy who was saying that Europe needs to issue Russia security guarantees because Russia was scared of NATO attacking, which was never even a thing. But so Russians now, the good liberal Russians, want NATO to implement a Marshall Plan in Russia when Ukraine defeats it. And it's like, no, to help rebuild Russia. And I feel like for some reason Macron would be one of those people who'd be like, you know what, actually, this is a pretty sensible request. I'm convinced at this point that there has to be something that Putin has on him. There has to be something that ties him tremendously to Russia, that makes him continue say these ridiculous things, because no self-respecting European leader at this point would be supporting Putin who doesn't have something to get out of it, Here. So, new $45 billion aid package for Ukraine may be approved by the US Congress within the next 48 hours. Russian presidential spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that the Kremlin has not heard from the presidents of Ukraine and the United States about their readiness to listen to Russia's concerns yet. We regret to note that there were no words from Biden and Zelensky about the potential readiness to listen to Russia's concerns. Putin's spokesman also said that during the meeting between Volodymyr Zelensky and Joe Biden, there were no real calls for peace. There were no warnings about the barbaric shelling of residential buildings in Donbass. Yeah, because that was just made up by you and never happened. Never happened. Now Donbass is shelled by Russia. Ukraine didn't even have, I'm going to give you this bit of information because I think that not everybody knows this. And a lot of the times that some ignorant conspiracy theory believing people tell you these things, you don't really know what to say other than it's just not true. But Ukraine didn't have what to shell Donbas with in 2014. First of all, we had no aviation really to do that. Second of all, we had no systems that could shell Donbas. So it's quite funny, you know, when Russians say like, oh, for 8 years, Ukraine was slaughtering children and shelling Donbas, which is like, with what? With what? Especially when they say Azov was doing that. Azov doesn't have aviation. Azov doesn't have missiles. Azov didn't have like rocket launchers at that time. It's ridiculous. Anybody who knows anything about military equipment and about how armies function or anything about Ukraine's army in 2014 would just laugh in your face and say, yeah, okay, because it's impossible. It was impossible. The government of Denmark has allocated additional more than $42 million for the purchase of weapons for Ukraine. Zelensky said he's pleased with the results of his visit, feeling bipartisan support. CNN citing a source close to the president of Ukraine. At the same time, despite the generally warm reception, some Republicans were not yet ready to commit to continuing financial support for Ukraine, Politico notes. House Minority Leader Steve Scalise noted that Congress is interested in supporting Ukraine, but on condition that the money will be carefully checked. Sure, but here's the thing, like that's what we've been saying. We have these Republicans keep trying to portray it as if Ukraine is not with it. Hi, Angelo. Boa noite. As if Ukrainians are against it, but like we have said on multiple occasions, sure, come check it. Come do anything that you need to do because we are actually being very careful with all of the aid. And we don't care. Sure, if you want to do thorough checks, you should do thorough checks. And then the Republicans just come back and they're like, well, we will only support it if thorough checks are implemented. And then Ukrainians are like, okay, sure, we're happy with the thorough checks. And Republicans are like, no, only if you can do thorough checks. And Ukrainians, again, are saying, okay, bring the experts. We're fine with that. And Republicans are like, no, but we need thorough checks. Like, all right, then, bring it. Self-proclaimed president of Belarus, Alexander Lukashenko, has convened a meeting with the military and security forces to discuss the recent announced inspection of the army's combat readiness and the redeployment of some equipment closer to the border with Ukraine. If you want peace, prepare for war. We have conducted and are conducting trainings. Now they're more extensive due to the current situation and threats. Therefore, we conduct trainings on our territory. We move both the joint grouping of the armed forces and our armed forces where we consider it necessary. Period. Okay. All right. Lukashenko. I mean, I would elaborate on that, but we only have 8 minutes, so let me break down the news for you and I will elaborate more. So I think I'm going to make a separate video on Lukashenko and Belarus and the invasion and the potential of the invasion from Belarus. And also, actually, so one of these segments that I think I will do for YouTube, and I will try to do this ASAP, will be, FAQs about Ukraine, a guide for Westerners, because one of the things I very often hear in my TikTok comments from Ukrainians is that they follow me because they send my videos to their foreign friends that they're tired of explaining things over and over again to, or they're tired of answering questions. And so I figured, since my content is English speaking, one way that it could be useful for Ukrainians is if it's, if it answers the questions that Ukrainians or not Ukrainians or you guys are tired to explain to your family members, to your friends, like basic things or things that it's just like, it's been so long that it's so like annoying to have to answer this over and over and over again. So what I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to comment under this video, not in the live chat, but under the stream the questions that you hear way too often, that you wish when someone asks you, you could just pull up a video and be like, here, this is everything you need to know. So please write down all of the questions that you are tired of hearing, that you are tired of hearing, and put them in the comments to the stream. Again, not live comments because I can't access that sometimes, but comments to the stream on YouTube. I am going to release a TikTok video with asking to do the same. I'm going to do thank you so much. I'm going to do an Instagram video as well, and I'm going to do a Twitter post, just so like we cover all of the bases and stuff like that. And I would, because I think it'll be useful for everybody. It's like one of my Ukrainian friends, which was the biggest compliment ever, said that, I just send, so he's a personal trainer and he deals with a lot of different kinds of people, and he's a personal trainer here in New York. So a lot of them find out he's Ukrainian, then ask all of these questions, and he's just like, you know what? Here, this is my friend Yulia. Go watch her videos. It's a one-stop shop for knowing everything about Ukraine. And I'm like, this is exactly what I want to be. I want to be a one-stop shop for knowing everything about Ukraine. That's exactly what I'm aiming to do with this channel. So I was like, how do I not have a video? And John came out with a perfect name for that segment. I was wondering how to call it, like, funny. And so we figured out we're going to call it FAQ, but FAQU colon a guide to Ukraine for Westerners. So yeah. So you let me know what you think. You know what? I'm gonna write in the chat what we imagine it as being. And you guys tell me what you think. To Ukraine for foreigners. So here, because we thought it'd be like on the nose funny. I sent it in the Twitch chat and I sent it in the YouTube chat. You guys tell me what you think. But obviously this is like going to be a thing that we build on, and we're going to be doing more often. So it's impossible to answer it in one go. But so there is probably going to be quite a few of those videos. And I think that it doesn't only have to be about Ukraine. It could be about politics later as well. Just sort of like, it could be like, FAQ, a guide to freedom of speech for Republicans, I don't know, like sort of, like common misconceptions, like about vaccines and stuff like that. But yeah, John, that was such a good name. And I was so proud. I was like, wow, that's a great idea. And I would not have come up with it. Also, my gosh, we do have so much news still. I think I'm going to have to do it tomorrow. I think I'm going to have to do a longer live tomorrow and include more stuff tomorrow because, so you guys, if you don't know, I have a Patreon, and on Patreon, we're about to have an hour-long or 40-minute long, we'll see, Zoom call. So I have to go attend to that. But basically, if you guys are interested, if you guys would like to support me, I have a Patreon, and on that Patreon, we're about to have a Zoom call every month on normally the first Thursday of the month or the last Thursday of the month. I honestly, on a Thursday each month, we will be having Zoom calls. I do have a Discord, Nora. It's in my link in bio. So if you go to beacons.ai/Yulia, you'll find it there. The stream tomorrow will be 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will see you guys. I will see those of you who are on Patreon in literally 2 minutes. So I'm sorry for a shorter stream today, but oopsie doopsie. I gotta go, and we will talk tomorrow. Baba Judas, no, these are still, so I'm being asked if my nails are wraps. No, these are still the static nails. I love those. Those are the ones that I always talk about. Alrighty, good night, guys. I will see you tomorrow. I will probably go live later when I'm cleaning or making food for a little bit, but yeah, I will be seeing you guys soon. Okay, bye.